Ah! This is a stream. We're on stream.
Yeah.
Please scream, as is the obligatory start.
Always.
Always. Ah! See, Kira's joining in.
Yay.
Yay! Hello! Hello and welcome to the... It's the Projectimate. No, we haven't put this into full screen yet, so that's going to look bad. That's not full screen, that's inspect. Now it doesn't want to do anything. There we go. I stream. And I stream thanks to the wonderful work of Adrian von Ziegler, who is about to blast bagpipes in our ears. Hi Kira, how you doing?
Right.
Yes, yeah. The least they're allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Given that I just take their music and play it in the background constantly.
Yeah. So they get to have a little bagpipe as a treat.
Yeah. I haven't finished drawing my cat because I was caught off guard. But that's fine. Yeah. So today, good thanks. Everybody today, give thanks to the hard work of Adrian von Ziegler.
Good thanks to Adrian.
Yeah, for some reason I was about to try and work out what language to say thank you in, based on what language is Adrian von Ziegler's language, and I have absolutely no idea. But I thought about it for too long, despite not knowing. I'm like, I don't know your ethnicity, but let me try and work out.
Yeah, that's...
What? That's not something you can calculate. You can't calculate that. That's not... There's got to be some sort of formula for this, surely.
Mm-hmm.
My brain is in maths mode, I guess. How you doing? Yes, and also to Ragdoll and Christy, and also there's Oops and Plamps and Lewis and Dark. I'm pretty sure there's someone else. I mean, obviously Kiro, but that goes without saying. No, that is it, right? Me, Chib, Ragdoll, Christy, Kiro, Plamps, Lewis, Dark, Oops. Yeah, no, there's 9 of us. It's because there are 10 spaces on the wheel, I think. That trips me up. Arigato! I can read hiragana. Somehow. I studied it like 10 years ago. I don't know how I still can. Dankeschön. Bedankt. Merci. Cheers. Cheers, aid. You've served us well. You've been an aid to the stream. Get it? It's a joke. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So Christy, the reason terrible jokes are happening is because Christy and Ragdoll are not here to keep us in check. Ragdoll has important things to do, and Christy also has important things to do, which involve resting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the important things.
So the Chaos Gremlins remain. And
yeah.
We're gonna change the whole thing while they're away.
Yeah, we're gonna like change the whole story last minute, reinvent everything.
So yeah, I'm thinking something like Columbo.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, let's do Columbo. Has somebody done like a fantasy Columbo?
Probably.
I think they should. Fantasy detective. Procedural. How did I do that? I deliberately tried to focus to make sure that this matched up with an even number of wedges, and I still did it wrong. I can solve this. I can solve this.
You can solve this.
All we gotta do is add chaos, as is our prerogative.
Exactly. more
Yeah.
chaos equal more good.
More chaos. And they want a real... Look, they're all different now, so it's fine.
Yeah, you did it.
This is the last wheel spin, so I wanted to send it out in style, and instead I drew this.
I mean, I tried to draw Fame and Fortune as cats, and
Ah, look at them! I mean, good job attempting to get 7 arms on a cat. So,
it's hard.
Six. Okay, my brain is not in maths mode.
Cats aren't made for 6 limbs.
Not really, no. It's an insecat.
It's cat. Yeah.
Well, they're recognizable. If you showed them to me, I'll be like, Fame and Fortune. Hey.
Yeah.
So that's what matters. Anyway, but this is a Project Fear stream, allegedly.
Yeah, what are we doing?
What are we doing? This is an excellent question, and one we absolutely do not have time to answer. But
Just
we can narrow it down to what are we doing now?
Yeah, what are we doing now? What needs to be happening?
So the last thing we talked about, as I recall, were the being arrested by the Feldino for crimes against C.
Right. Yes. The Abyss.
Yeah. So we're in the Abyss. We got down there, and they went, "We know you. You've been
we
ruining
got
things."
Mario Sunshine. Yeah.
You've got Mario Sunshine because we look in our diving suit. We look like we're covered in like armor, and the people at the bottom of the Abyss, they don't like the Golden City, and they're all covered in armor. So they think you're from the Golden City. Come with me. You must clean the place up with this hose. No.
You must stand trial for your crimes.
So yeah, there's a brief court scene.
Yeah, it only lasts 3 hours.
Yeah, it's mostly waiting on like barristers and
Yeah, mostly just waiting.
jury deliberation.
That
happens for a while,
and then gets decided like you aren't. I mean, you say you are in Golden City. We don't really have proof, but you know, you can help us by fucking up the Golden City, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. We need to work out precisely what it is the Golden City want us to do, and what it is the Abyss people want us to do, and what we can do that is good or bad.
Yeah.
Or what we can do that feeds into Fame and Fortune's plans, and what we can do that doesn't. That sort of dissipates their intent. Any ideas?
I mean, I'm trying to think of it because now that I'm thinking about it, it's like it wouldn't make sense for Fame and Fortune to want to destroy the Golden City. You know? Because Golden City is kind of the state they want to achieve for other people. They want chaos and they want souls just being around and not being in line for death and being off paperwork and off the grid. I don't know. That's kind of what they want, so I don't know what like they would be trying to achieve here.
Trying to think, and your brain isn't cooperating. I thought 6 was 7. We're all in the same boat today.
I'm trying to focus on Ria so that I don't have to focus on my anxiety, so this is great.
Yay! Right, so... Dunno.
I guess they...
Are I was just thinking, like, this whole life-death soul admin thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that for everything? Does everything go through that process? Like, the birds, insects, behemoths? Or is it just, like, humans and humanoids?
Interesting.
Because I was wondering whether or not the deep sea people are actually involved in that side of things at all. And if so, maybe that's something that could be, Fame and Fortune might take an interest in somehow.
It's an interesting question because, like, in a lot of worlds where there's, like, a concept of an afterlife, it's usually like, oh, this is for humans, or this is for, like, humanoids. But considering, like, the people in this world, that'd be, like, very, like, where do you, like, what's gonna go in there and what's not based on arbitrary standards.
Yeah, it's pretty vague. Also, how's Kiro's day been? Been good?
Yeah, how's your day been, Kiro? Because when you asked it, my first thought was like, yes, everything goes through that channel. Mostly because in a world where, like a lot of things have evolved, Like, a lot of the people are new-ish in a sense. Like, you cannot, like, it's like, is a sentient lizard gonna go to heaven, essentially, is the question. Like, yes, I guess. I guess if there's an afterlife and we're talking about just pure, like, soul, admin, and then be like, yes, everything would go through that channel? Which would be an awful job.
Well, yeah, but they're sort of outside of time, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Or it would be fine if the shenanigans going on were finite.
Mm-hmm.
But Fame and Fortune made sure that didn't happen.
Yeah. I guess Fame and Fortune's, like, plan with the Abyss wouldn't be as much to, like, get the Golden City destroyed, but more, there are creatures living in the ocean that haven't had, like, any contact with anything in the world for, like, years and years, and I don't know. Get them involved. How do you get them involved, kind of thing?
Right.
Like, they want to, like, because they're not, like, the Golden City isn't really gonna search out conflict, so this conflict must come from the side of the Abyss. So how do you get them involved into the world, I guess, is more their problem.
Yeah. So what does that achieve? Like, it's difficult to pin down what is achieved by a couple of protagonists whose achievements are basically outside of the realms of reality.
Yeah.
Can ask a lot of questions, but ultimately they're weird Fae things.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos.
Yeah, I think that's the answer to it. Like, they want to get they've seen this thing happen of, you know, if we get enough people together, if we get enough chaos, weird things happening, murder enough, cause enough genocides, essentially, things will go wrong, death and life will be messed up, we can be free. So all we need to do is to get people involved and get them messed up. So it is essentially to breed chaos. You cannot, you know, like, there's not going to be chaos happening if these guys are just going to be chilling on the bottom of the ocean for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
That's my thought process, but it's hard to, like, pin down how it's, you know, actually, like, achieves anything that would be noticeable.
I mean, yeah, it may just simply be intent.
Yeah.
Like, fame and fortune operate largely on quite abstract principles. Things like the ability to possess and sort of inherent value and stuff like that. They don't really deal in a tangible world. They deal in the intangible, and I feel like just maybe like intent is enough. The act is irrelevant, as it were, but the intent helps them in some sense. Again, is this this is the thing that I just keep forgetting about this project, right? I keep snapping back into 16 symbols mode, where I'm like, okay, we've got to explain this story. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
You've ever played a Zelda game? No one explains anything. This is not an RPG.
Yeah,
This is an action game.
Yeah, I think it is, like, very much that of just fame and fortune don't need much of an explanation, and I think we keep, like, going too far into it.
Yeah.
Because everything boils down to they want chaos. Because if they can get enough chaos going, they can break reality.
Yeah.
And then it's their world. That's, like, it's the, like, basic plan of bad guy wants to take over the world. But it's not in a physical sense.
Yeah.
They don't have a massive army, they just exist in the world and cause chaos to happen, and that's enough. I like this little guy that you're drawing.
I'm trying to do like a knockoff Delfino.
Yeah, I noticed that, but I think he's really cute.
Oh my god, it's you! City people, run!
A little bit of, like, an underwater eggplant.
I'll go with that, that's fine. A l'aubergine?
L'aubergine, yes.
L'aubergine? Kind of works. Yeah. I'm glad you had an okay day, Kara. I would like it to have been fantastic, but hey. Such is the nature of things. I now have to draw one of these, like, so I don't have to, but I want to. Who will have the capacity to arrest you, because I feel like this friend, they don't have the capacity to arrest you.
No, arms are very short and stubby. Imagine they can do a lot of, like, flailing around, though. Just go.
Oh yeah.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
They just sort of spin around.
Wave their little arms back and forth. They're like the... God, that's gotta be very specific, but there is this guy in Delfino Plaza who just keeps running back and forth. Just, you know, keep running back and forth and you stop, and it's just... they scream in your face kind of thing.
Ah. Kind of like cousin of Flynn, but
Yeah, a little bit.
I could only draw one blob. This is something I wanted to do, actually. I wanted to do a thing, like a video or something, where I'm like, okay, here's a prompt for, like, something, like, you know, like a Disney film where all the characters are cats, or all the characters are tigers or praying mantises or whatever, and the idea is that I have to make a bunch of characters who are all different, but are the same thing, as it were. Because I'm really bad. Whenever I draw an animal or a thing or whatever, it always turns out the same, and I feel like I need to practice variety.
Okay. Big cool video idea.
Yeah.
Really fun.
But I'd also have to work out how to make it like interesting, like get a random animal, pick a random animal, and I just have to deal with it.
God,
there we go.
If you pick like the internet generator, then you're gonna get like a wild, very wild pick for an animal. You're gonna like get a very, very specific type of deer.
I'm fine with. I'm fine. You know, do 10 sort of visually and characteristically different dicks or whatever. I'm fine with that.
I guess.
And trying to avoid the tropes of like, this is the strong one, this is the shy one, etc., etc. I had a because I kind of went not really tropey. I tried to have some variety, but with the Googology one. And I got a comment on that video. I get so many comments on that video. But I got a comment on that video the other day, which was just most characters have weapons. In this video, oh, I can't even remember the name of the character.
Little Armageddon?
Yeah, Little Big Ed, and that was it. Yeah, most characters
Big
have weapons. In this, the weapons have Little Big Eden.
Yeah.
There's a plamp.
Clamps.
There's a plamp, and they're armed now.
Yes.
The sword is appropriate. Hello, how are you? Don't you be awake and alive past 8 PM with jet lag? I know. Jet lag, not good. I don't know. I've never had jet lag, but I've heard it's bad.
Yeah.
But yes, I understand this. I have a knife! Scary times.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that your Googology video is just like your like most commented, like most popular video.
Oh yeah, people love that video. I don't know why. Like usually it's because whenever anything I do that is popular, whenever I do anything that turns out to be popular, unlike, you know, my abilities to do grammar, it's usually based on something that people already like, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have had comments from people who are like massively into Googology to the point that they're really angry at me for not doing numbers justice.
Yeah.
Go look through some of the comments. It's wild. But quite a lot of people just, I don't know, I guess they just sort of stumbled on the video somehow.
Yeah, I guess it's.
Why that one?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess just what's Googology? That's a weird word. You know,
Yeah.
maybe it's that.
I guess so. I'm like also trying to think of like maybe it's getting into people's like feeds who are into like sci-fi stuff.
Maybe
There's like a bit of like a Star Warsy sci-fi adventure kind of thing going on, but I don't know if you'd like advertise that.
Not really. No, I don't think I've used the sci-fi tag or anything like that.
Yeah, so like that would be just based on content, which I guess could happen, but feels weird.
If you get a surge of views, likes, comments in a little amount of time, it could be that someone saw it, liked it, and shared it with their friends and colleagues. Not really. It's just been very slowly building up.
Yeah.
Just sort of a consistent trickle of people coming in and watching that one video. Very strange.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, Plamps, this little friend exists in the ocean.
Yay!
And they're putting you on trial.
They're putting you on trial for crimes you didn't commit. They are the judge, jury, and executioner.
Unfortunately, their methods of execution only work on creatures like them, and it just doesn't work on you. So. My friend, they're scared of you because you're wearing armor.
Yeah. I guess the most prominent question I have would be how would you go about dismantling the Golden City? They can say that, but how?
Yeah. So okay, so having just tried to come up with a way of making them threatening, I thought, okay, what if they're wearing armor and they have some sort of weapons? And I'm like, how do they make armor? They can't forge anything; they're underwater. So I just imagine they got a big stone and hollowed it out. So maybe a lot of their technology is just rock based. So their plan to destroy the Golden City is just to catapult a massive rock out of the ocean. And just... And that's as far as I got.
Plump says gun, and I feel like it has the same vibe.
Just gun. Suddenly remembered Stumble Upon while listening just before. That was real good when you were in high school. Stumble Upon? That didn't sound familiar. What's that? Stumble Upon. Discovery and advertisement engine that pushed web content recommendations to its users. Yeah. It's nice.
I guess it could be a thing of yes, we have this big catapult cannon weaponry thing that we're gonna use to destroy the Golden City. Find the power source. What's the most potent power source you as the player know? Blood pool. There's a blood pool in the ocean.
There is that. Yeah, that's something we should use.
I guess it's something. I'm not feeling super strong about it, but you know, it is a thing of it. It's like a connecting thread in Female Fortune's plans, also of something to do with the blood pool stuff.
Yeah.
Of just getting that into the world. And letting people just use it willy-nilly.
It gave you a random cool website. Nice. And then fell over and died when social media kicked off. Yeah, I can imagine. It was unsocial media. I like that. Yeah, okay, so what can we... Also, by the way, Plams, fully understand if you have no idea what we're talking about. Feel free to ask.
Feel free to ask anything.
We are 31 streams deep into this lore.
Yeah, I don't know how many you've watched back. Watched the VODs of.
Lore of a project that I thought wouldn't have much lore.
Because, I wouldn't blame you if you'd watched 0 of the VODs. Yeah.
The one thing I also thought of about weapons for these guys is whalefall. Big old sea creatures falling to the bottom of the ocean and turning into big old skeletons. And hey, skeletons are sharp.
Yeah, lots of bone.
So they are adorned with bones and they look spookier. Remember, bits and pieces say, more than 0, less than anything helpful. No, you're part of the project. You're helpful inherently.
Yes. You made a good world, and now these little guys exist.
Yeah. This
and
would not exist.
And destroy Lewis's little guys.
Yeah. I did think of, yeah. Yeah, your world is actively antagonistic towards Lewis's.
I mean, to be fair, everyone should be antagonistic to Lewis's guys because they suck.
Lewis did set them up for antagonism, so that seems fair. Whalefall's the coolest. Nice. Conceptually, but also just a literal thing. It's cool. It's nice. That's why I thought of it.
To be fair, Plums also has like cute little jellyfish guys. But this is deep in the eyes.
Go real deep.
Now I'm just thinking of like the thing of like deep in the ocean, pressure is different. So if you put like one of these guys on land, it's just like jelly spreading, just like.
If you take them up to land, they are huge.
Oh yeah, that too.
They're not very tall.
No.
But they do go they're very pancakey.
Yeah, they just become jello.
And they just sort of move along the floor by vibrating.
That's a very funny image.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about getting deep into the story of it because this is the penultimate stream. So
yes,
one day I will actually. I do really sincerely actually like as much as this project went absolutely nowhere that I thought it would, which is always the joy of doing things with other people. I do really. The more I think about it, the more I just want to constantly make art about all the stuff that we've done and all the places and the characters and the stories. I just want to draw all of it, and I don't have time.
It is like a thing of like I really like. It's such a silly project, but also I wish this would be a thing.
Yeah.
For me. Like, it's so stupid and we keep making jokes about, like, you have a 3-hour court scene or whatever, but it's like...
Yeah. But I would draw that. It's part of the fun,
something I'd be like, yeah, I want this to exist and just be very stupid and silly. And just make things for it in a more, like... Yeah, it's... I guess the difficulty for me is, like... Because I have thought about, like, oh, I'm gonna, like, write things out. Like, write out, like, dialogue and little things like that. And then I'm just like... The protagonist is, like, the person who plays the game.
Yeah, it's a voiceless.
How do you write that down, like, sensibly?
In second person?
I guess so.
Like a choose your own adventure game? Sort of thing? Obviously, you don't have to write it like that, but...
That'd be, like, the most, like... Yeah. The best way to write such a thing.
It's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never thought so much about that because second person is something that happens a lot in fanfiction, and I don't really like it.
Fair enough.
So it didn't really come to mind, but I guess that would make the most sense of just to have, like, you as, it's you.
Yeah, it's you.
You are the player. You can say these things, and it's like, like with Pokemon games where you get two dialogue choices, and they don't really do anything.
You have the first dialogue choice, which advances the plot, and the second dialogue choice, which makes the character say, "Oh, come on," and then you go back to the menu again.
Exactly.
A protagonist, like all these bloody antagonists.
Yeah. I was watching a video earlier today of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it was like a dialogue choice where your choices were between like, yes, let's do this, and I guess, and it's like
that's roleplay.
Those come down to the same thing because they're not gonna like, you know, act any different depending on whether you're enthusiastic or not.
You might, the next line of dialogue might be different, and that's it. That's as far as you're gonna get. Oh, more of an amateur antagonist. Oh, I see. I mean, the character in this story is a professional because they do spend the first third of the game employed as a postman.
Yes.
So
that is true. I think you might have missed that, Lams. But you do get literally employed as a postman by the male lizard.
That happens.
That's how you explore the first sections of the game.
Yep, you got a lot of stuff to deliver. You got to go all around.
You get, I believe, the canonical beginning is you wake up in a cave with a blood pool. You walk towards a mysterious liquid, aka a bit of blood. You drink it from the floor. It's floor soup.
You're very thirsty.
It's fine. There's no explanation given for why you drink that.
Yeah.
The prompt as you feel energized.
The prompt is not drink, the prompt is inspect.
Yeah.
But your character drinks. So.
Yeah. Then you find a bunch of wizards that give you a tutorial and things. One of them is Buff Lizard. Buff Wizard beats the shit out of you.
Yep.
Because it's Buff Wizard. That's why you get sent to the character creator, because the wizards have to redo your face because you got beat not so badly.
There is the plastic surgeon wizard who fixes your face. And here's Buff Wizard for reference. They are your combat tutorial and also the reason you do not have a face.
Yeah. Then you get picked up by the male lizard who gives you a ride to the harbor, where you encounter Wine Aunt, who gives you a very incredibly, definitely important tour of the city, and not just the houses of all our family. And just gives you a lot of gossip that's ultimately useless. That lasts like 4 hours. Then you get 4 real life hours after that.
Yeah. The intro to this is long.
She asks you to get rid of a rat, but by that point you're so tired, and Male Lizard comes back and offers you a job, so you're probably just gonna take that. So you now have a job with the Male Lizard.
This is Chuck! Chuck!
I hope Lamb's got all of that. I'm not repeating it.
That was nice to have this recap. Like I said, we're nearing the end. It's nice to have a kind of summary at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just for Plamps, so everyone else, stop listening.
Yeah.
Also, be careful, Shark, because Plamps has a knife.
Yeah.
Don't steal their things too much. So yeah, that is how the game begins.
That is the canonical beginning to the game.
Also, the Mafia are after you because they mistook... some of the goons mistook the phrase, send them a message.
Yes.
as being something
like,
about.
Yeah. It was like, send them a message. That was their task. And they were like, got it. Message, male lizard. We're gonna kidnap the male lizard.
They're not
That's
the
how you
brightest.
get involved with the mafia. Also, you'll be happy to know that male lizard is a romanceable option in the game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I think the only one? Question mark?
I think it was that and Evil Sexy Wizard's assistant.
Right, yes.
The bats,
that's
yeah.
True.
Um,
Male lizard, evil sexy wizard's assistant, the bat.
yes. Hang on, let me get a picture of them.
I'm sure there are a couple other options that we haven't mentioned yet.
Not them. Them.
Not the sexy wizard.
No, not
the
that.
Bat.
The bat.
Just in case you were confused, the sexy evil wizard is far too busy doing their research.
Oh, and also, you can only romance male lizard after you've stopped being in their employment, because otherwise that's unethical.
Yeah, exactly. Because male lizard is also HR, and that's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
They are employee, boss, and HR. That's, not gonna happen.
Yeah, not many people want to work in the post office, turns out, but mainly because the mafia keep coming after them.
Probably.
And from then on, shenanigans.
From then on, shenanigans.
Mainly involving metaphysics.
A lot of metaphysics and admin.
Yeah, oh yeah, admin. Yes, admin is a common theme. For reasons.
I guess
it's going to be a hit with the kids.
A thing of, like, we quote-unquote named the game admin and said it was an acronym and haven't figured out yet what admin stands for.
Yeah, we want the acronym of the game to be admin, but we don't know what it stands for, so yeah.
So if you want to work on that, you can.
The closest we have is we think that the AD stands for adventure, but that's as far as we go, really.
Yeah.
Did have some ideas. Oh, there's another thing I wanted to stress. Because we're coming to the end of this whole thing, a reminder of what I said right at the beginning, which is anything that you make over the course of Project Via, anything that you've made, ideas you come up with, so on and so forth, they belong to you. Feel free to use them for something useful. You're more than welcome to take ideas that you've come up with and go, actually, I'm going to turn that into something worthwhile.
Yeah.
So yeah, have fun, have a good time. I own nothing apart from the things I made.
No, we own those now.
No!
Oh, you don't know it, but you signed the contract at the beginning of this.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't even notice because, you know me, I move on to another massive project in the next month or so and forget this exists. I'm really, really bad with finishing things.
Just gonna steal all your shit.
May have started another project today.
Of course you have.
Don't judge me. This one is people will enjoy this one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't doubt about that. Sounding really sarcastic, but I don't doubt that. But,
no, I don't doubt that.
I don't, because your stuff is good.
How dare you? This is a family stream. I
dare. You even put it in the Christmas card. You're gonna read it.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna be right there, so you cannot deny any of it.
You assume I'm going to open it in the presence of good company and not Crimble.
I mean, I do assume that, yeah.
Well, there you go. It's an assumption. I mean, to be fair, if everyone else opens their cards, then yeah, I probably will. But
I mean, I've never left any Christmas card for Christmas. It's a card.
Me neither, but I also didn't assume that anyone else would open them at the time, so I just, yeah. What do you do with Christmas cards, everybody? Do you leave them, or do you... I sounded like a radio DJ. Hey, why don't you call in and tell us what you do with Christmas cards?
Yeah, I open them and then stick them to my wall. I mean, in between, I read them, you know? I don't just open them
Open them, go, oh, that's great, stick.
No, I do actually read them, and then I stick them on my wall.
Who is it from? I guess we'll never know. Splat. I'm kind of tempted to work out what creature this is the ribcage of. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I was gonna say Plamps is framed. Definitely the last couple Chib Christmas cards. I remember seeing them.
You're gonna get one more, and then you're gonna have to like rearrange everything.
New frame.
You're gonna immediately have to buy a new frame. I'm so sorry.
That's good. It's very sweet. I still have things. I've moved everything around, and things haven't got a place yet. So I've got all the things that people have sent me, but they're just sort of in a little stack. So I need to work out what to do with those.
Yeah.
Lewis's family hangs them up all on a wooden lattice, along with the ones they get dead. Yeah, I have seen that. I've never had one myself, but I have seen probably relatives have a card lattice.
I don't know what a lattice is, and the first thing I thought of was a lettuce. And I was like, why would you stick them on a lettuce? That seems a bit weird.
Yeah, the Christmas lettuce. Don't you do the Christmas lettuce? Is that not a tradition? You decorate the lettuce and put cards on it?
No.
Oh, God. You strange Europeans not doing the Christmas lettuce, honestly. Sure. No, a lattice is just like a grid, usually diagonal as opposed to vertical. So, like, you might see them on the sides of buildings and plants crawl up and stuff. Just like wooden crisscross thing.
Like that. Yeah, okay, I get it.
There's a mathematical definition, but I won't get into it.
No, I've googled it and I get it now.
Although I did see a cool thing. There's something. This is just a random. Is this worth saying?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is your fault now.
I take responsibility for this.
There's something called Penrose tiling. I recommend you look it up. I first came across it on the floor. Because I went to Oxford for a conference, and outside the building, they had this strange tiling pattern on the floor. And there was something about it that just sort of looked a bit off. Like, it was nice aesthetically, but it just sort of, something wasn't quite right about it. And then it had a little plaque next to it. I thought, I'll read this. What is this? And it's an interesting tiling that's made up of, I think, just 3 distinct, or it might even just be two shapes. And it never repeats. It looks very geometric and set. And the small chunks are going to repeat. They're going to appear here and there, but they'll never repeat in any kind of periodic way. So they're always weird and strange and interesting, and they're quite nice to look at. They're aesthetically pleasing. Anyway, I found out recently how they're made, how they actually discovered these, and that you make them with a lattice, which is why I thought I'd mention it. You get like a kind of 5-way lattice thing, and you look at how the lines intersect, and when they intersect in this way, you stick this shape there, and when they intersect in this way, you stick this shape there, and then you squidge it all together, and you get yourself a lattice, and it's very cool. And you can make your own. Somebody made an online lattice play around with her. That's the technical term. And you can make your own tilings, and it's pretty neat. I will find that at some point and share it.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, lattices can make fun maths things.
Yay.
New frames can be bought, and eventually you can put frames up next to each other and have a cute wall. Yeah.
A cute wall.
Cute wall. You can make them with a lettuce. I know. You probably could. Like, you could probably use like the stem of the lettuce as like one line in the lattice, and Its thickness will be the period of that. Those parallel components. You could do that.
Yay.
Let's make a lettuce lattice.
You got to talk about maths, and Ragdoll isn't even here.
Yay!
You did it.
Now I can't blame Ragdoll for it. It's just
No,
me.
it's
I
all
do
your
that.
fault. I encouraged you, so you know.
Not sure it'll last long. True, but it would last longer than a prime minister.
Yes, I was about to say.
Oh, we're a joke.
Oh, wonderful.
We used to be respected for some reason. No one knows why. Or at the very least, we used to tell ourselves that we were respected. That's, that's probably more likely.
More accurate, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Via.
Yeah. Yeah.
RESPECT. There's a song about that. I think you could probably get some information there. Unfortunately, I'm hearing the song in my head, and I literally don't know any of the words other than RESPECT. So it's just like RESPECT. RESPECT. I don't know. So that's what it means. It means gibberish.
That sounds like every time I try to remember a song.
Usually I've got quite a good memory with music. This has only ever happened once, but I'm very proud of it. I remember hearing a song in my head as I was just walking along, just a song that I know and I like. And I was listening to it in my head, and I was like, is that a flute? I don't remember there being a flute in this. Have I made that up? And I went back and listened to the song, and there's a flute I'd never noticed. But somehow, obviously, my brain had remembered it. But I just never consciously noticed it before, and I noticed it in my head.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Doot.
Also, you not remembering the lyrics to that song also sounds like every time I try to listen to a musical for the first time. Or to an English musical specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Because some musicals on YouTube are kind enough to provide, like, subtitles. Most
handy.
of them aren't, because most of them are, uploaded illegally. But yeah, I tried to get into a new musical recently because I saw it in a list and it looked funny, and I didn't understand a word of what they were saying. It was like sometimes I'd catch like a word, and otherwise it was just like noise, and I was just like, what is happening? I know English. They are speaking English, I know English, this should be fine. And I just couldn't.
That's fully understandable. Because it's like, so okay, here's a random fact about human biology. The part of the brain that processes speech is different from the part of the brain that processes singing.
Mm-hmm.
And as a consequence, the reason we know this, as we all know almost everything about the brain, is that somebody injured one of them but not the other. And so they could communicate by singing but not by speaking. They couldn't understand people speaking to them, but they could understand songs. Which is very strange and interesting. So it may just be that. It may be the fact that the part of your brain that processes lyrics through song is struggling to keep up, whereas if it was just dialogue, it might be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably. I generally have to listen to musicals a few times before I actually start getting stuff. Depending on who is singing or what the notes are, I even have to look up certain lyrics. Because when people are singing in a higher pitch, usually when women are singing, I'm just I'm trying really hard. But I just cannot understand what you're singing. The words aren't words to me at that point.
Oh god, so sexist, honestly.
No, don't do that to me.
No, I get it. It's like the pitch can definitely have an effect.
Yeah.
People have been loving Dance from the Matilda musical, but every time the clip plays, you understand 0% of the words even after reading the subtitles. Probably doesn't help that it's a bunch of kids singing. Oh yeah, kids singing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might not help.
I've watched the Matilda musical upload on YouTube, and it was rough. Even though I had listened to the songs a few times, some part was still pretty rough for me to like understand.
That's Tim Minchin, wasn't it?
But yeah, the musical I was trying to get into was A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
That sounds like a good title.
Yes. And it's a comedy musical, which is genuinely one of my faves because I think funny musicals are great. Yeah, but yeah, it's rough because it's not like a professional upload, and the women who sing in this are they have to sing very high notes, so that wasn't helping. And also there's like a bunch of like funny like accents and stuff going on, and like people being like very, I want to say like being characters, but that doesn't really make sense. Like types.
I kind of get what you mean.
They have to like be really characters. Because that's where the a lot of the humor comes from. But yeah, I think from what I've understood of the plot, it's very funny, and I do like the visuals of it. And just A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. I saw the title of the musical in a list and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you're watching that.
Like, there's no chance it wouldn't be up my alley. Unless it was like a drama, which it wasn't. Anyway, we should go back to Project V, I guess. I could talk about musicals more, but yeah.
I would happily listen to Chibi's musical podcast.
Well, you can ask me about it in person. I'll still happily indulge you.
I like hearing people talking about the things that they really like.
Yeah. Cheapcast.
Cheapcast. Yeah, Via.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so okay, so we need to work out what is the thing they want you to do in the abyss, and how do you not do that? Okay, so here's the thing. I've just remembered from Plamps' original ideas for the abyss that there's a bunch of different sort of, not factions per se, but there's a bunch of different little sort of cities, towns, civilizations, whatever, in the abyss, and they don't all necessarily get on, or they don't necessarily all see eye to eye. So I feel like you come across this civilization, they're like, we want you to help blow up the city, so on and so forth. Maybe by virtue of interacting with another group, you can in some way mollify that. How? I don't know. You know, I mean, maybe this group is just very isolationary by definition, and they're just like...
I guess it would be a group that would have been, like, the most affected by the original, like, apocalyptic golf course city destruction. Either, like, by, oh, it caused an earthquake to happen, or, you know, just by virtue of trade suddenly being all sorts of messed up, or whatever.
Oh, Plamps, just as a litmus test, the phrase golf course apocalypse, how much of that means anything to you? That should give us a rough idea on how much of the story has been. That's classic Gem, honestly.
Classic Jim.
Classic Gem.
I do. It's so cute how his, like, cheeks have kind of, like, been pushed out and I squished his head into the helmet. I think I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well. Far before all the events of the game happening, in the area that's now the forest, there was a city, and it had, you know, the vibe of a golf course. That's why we keep calling it the golf course city. Because it was essentially a city in the middle of a desert, which was, like, you know, fully, like, green cuts, grass, and high skyscraper building, very neat, very artificial. They got a wizard. Always bad start of a story. They got a wizard.
They got a wizard. It's all downhill from there.
It's all downhill from there, as Miss would say. Said wizard was doing a PhD thesis, essentially. And then, through a series of things going wrong and missed calculations, PhD thesis went boom so badly that it destroyed the entire city and everyone living in it. And upset, you know, the whole ecosystem and all the land surrounding it, essentially.
It wasn't great. Well, it wasn't great for the things that were living there, but given that it's now a forest, good for the things that came along later.
So now it's a forest with a massive blood pool underneath it, essentially.
Wait, hang on, is the blood pool the blood of the people who died in the explosion?
That's
a bit grim. That's some Dark Souls like environmental storytelling right there.
The people that were in the Golden City.
Makes you feel better about your mistakes. At least I didn't do that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Wizard fucked up, destroyed essentially everything. The people living in the city all died because of the experiment. But because of the nature of the golf course city, they were all pretty much assholes, and they looked at the massive line in front of Life and Death's office and were like, no. We're not gonna do that. So they made the Golden City, and they're now spirits living in armor in the Golden City. And they are Lewis's people now.
Yeah, Lewis's people who are people who all died in an apocalypse and basically got to death's door and went, you know what? Screw it.
I'll pass.
Not gonna do
I
that.
have better things to do, thanks. I am more important than this.
Yeah, and there was too much admin for life and death to stop them.
Yeah, because again, whole bunch of apocalypses and chaos happening because of a major PhD thesis going wrong. Major explosion causes things to happen around the islands. I'm busy that day. Yeah.
And this, I guess this also goes into the question we had at the beginning, which was, is life and death just for, you know, the sentient, or is it just for is it for everything? It makes more sense for it to be for everything, because then it's, you know, a bit of additional backup as to why life and death were a bit busy, because it probably wasn't just the humans that died that day.
No, it was everything.
All the grass.
All the grass need to be sorted one by one.
That's what it was. It was the grass. It was the golf course that did it.
God.
That's what caused the admin.
The grass got to death's door, and that's when. Why would you do this to me?
Oh,
and
God.
life went, don't worry, I got it, and put a forest in that place.
Every single blade of grass was given like a new form as an interesting plant, because you're like, you've had a crap life as part of a golf course. Look, you be a tree, you be a weird vine thing, you be a, you know, and that's how the forest was made.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the course of doing that, all of the humans buggered off.
Yeah. And now the humans don't want to come back, which is a problem. I guess we should also explain Fame and Fortune now, because they're also kind of part of this.
Well, yeah, they're the final boss.
Yeah.
So it's quite important. The antagonists, you know?
No, but, you know.
You sort of need those.
Yes. I guess then is the next question, does the phrase primordial fae mean something to you?
I keep forgetting about primordial fae. That's a good term.
We keep using it too.
But we need to use that in something else as well. I'd really like primordial fae. It's a good... I'm sure someone else has used it, but still.
Mm-hmm. It has like something very ominous about it. Because it's already of like... Fae is already like such a loaded term with very like lots of things attached to it, and then primordial as well is just there's something really scary about it as a title.
Brain cell not found.
Okay.
Okay, so
we have these characters. They are okay. Wait. Hold on. Rewind. We have these characters, Fame and Fortune. They are primordial fae, or part of primordial fae as well, at least. The fae of this world kind of evolved into two sections, the Mimbles and the Wizards. That's just a fun fact. But it does explain some things about what Fame and Fortune, like, were. And still are, I guess. They kind of exist beyond the world, I guess, beyond reality. There's a lot of metaphysics involved. But like they adhere to like some of like weird Fae rules of like, you know, they cannot like really own stuff, and like as a result they don't really exist. And essentially their plan is break reality, become real, get to own stuff, live the best life. That's their plan. And they're doing that by fucking up literally everyone else that lives and breathes on the planet, and also doesn't.
Yeah, I'm demonstrating what you're talking about by dragging in pictures from the gallery and showing them on stream. Unfortunately, I still haven't updated the gallery from so long ago. So There's a bunch of missing footage not found.
Achieve some kind of fortune and maybe fame. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The main crux of it is the fact that because they are Fae, they cannot technically own anything, and they want to change that. And the only way they can change that is by breaking reality itself, which is why it's quite hard to pin down precisely what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's an adventure game, not an RPG, so we don't have to explain it. It's fine.
You know, the main idea is that they're trying to cause as much chaos as possible, to cause as many problems for life and death as possible, who are also characters in the game, that you might know.
They were there from the beginning, and
they were there from the beginning, so you probably know that. And by causing life and death problems, reality will break and they can exist. And go on a holiday, I guess. Yes. So you're trying to prevent that. Or maybe not. You can also, like, kind of, do what they want.
Yeah, if you lean into chaos, you can make it so that they achieve what they want and more. And that just basically ends up either everything going so very completely wrong, or you just end up making the final boss much harder because you add phases based on each area you screw up.
Yeah, you add phases to... because you're gonna have to fight them, you add phases to their fight based on the areas that you fucked up. And there's... I said it at the time of, like, they're, like, showing you a performance of your own mistakes or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, they put on a show.
They put on the show. They're like, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Or lady or gentleman, I guess. There's nobody there but you. I think that was also something... I don't know if I said that out loud, but, like, the idea of, like, credits roll, then it zooms out. It's just this camera and it shows that you've basically been watching the credits. And Fame and Fortune are also in the room with you. And they just go, well, isn't that lovely, but it isn't over yet. And then the boss fight begins.
They're breaking reality as a distraction to, like, sneak in the side door while life and death are fighting fires. Yes, sneaking in, I believe we said the back door, but the side door works as well. To put milk in the boiler room? I can't remember exactly what.
Milk in the boiler room will cause the sun to explode.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make sense to you, I cannot help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, kazoo credits in the Outer Wilds. I need to play the Outer Wilds. I hear it's good. Wait, is it the Outer Wilds? There's Outer Wilds and Outer Worlds, and they came out roughly at the same time, and I will get them all confused. I think Outer Wilds is the banjo one, right? Astronaut banjo? I don't. Games. Who plays them? Me, I play them. I played like 5 games yesterday. Banjo Space Time. Ooh, Time Loop. Nice. Yeah, I just didn't really... I was trying to find something to do that would just sort of chill out or whatever. And then I was like, I have a massive backlog of games I haven't played. So I went and found all the games that looked like the smallest games that I had. And some of them were like 10 minutes of little puzzles and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I'll just play as many of these as possible. And I played 5. So, over the course of like 3 hours. It was nice.
Nice.
None of them were terrible. Assumed you got into that one because it seemed your style, maybe. But it's quite new. Which means that I'd have to have money to buy it. Most of the new games I play because either you or Dark gifts it to me. Or Ragdoll, I should say. Or they're inexplicably on sale for like £2. which has been the case, which is why I bought We Happy Few, because that was on sale. That was like £6 for a bundle of the game and all the DLC, which was normally like 70. Like, yeah, sure, I'll go with that. But yes, I want to play it. It looks... I've sort of been told don't look up anything about Outer Wilds. It's better going in not knowing. But I'm excited for kazoos. If there's kazoos, it's a good game.
I just saw your death looking over me.
Yeah, I wanted to try and get a sense of scale, but it's very difficult to do with grass just drawn as lines. But I just wanted huge fields of grass that Death's just looking down at going, seriously.
Yeah, Death is massive, so consider the amount of grass that's
there.
yeah.
Like this. Hang on. You are here.
You are there.
Death be big. Well, they can be whatever size they want to be, but they like being big.
Yeah. Gives them a sense of importance.
They like being the size they are, but they can come down to your size as well.
Yeah.
That's their perspective.
I guess another thing to explain to plants is that you as the player, you are dead.
Oh yeah,
you
that's
are like
probably
a couple of souls combined, which is how you find out like things about what happens in the golf course city, because you find like the other parts of the souls which are standing in line for death. But yeah, you are kind of stitched together of different parts and are being sent out into the world to please fix things. We cannot get away from our paperwork. Please fix things. Please, thank you, goodbye.
We are admin.
There's
we
so
are here to
much
reduce admin, I
paperwork,
guess.
and someone keeps putting mayo in the boiler room, and we don't know how that happens.
That is the tagline for the game. That's what we put on all the posters. There is so much admin, and someone keeps putting mayo in the boiler room. Buy the game.
I mean, honestly, I'd buy a game with that tagline. I'd be like, what? What are you talking about?
That feels very like PS2 era game advertisement. Also, Death has a lot of antlers, and I've universally shown throughout this series that I can't draw antlers.
It's tough.
That's fine. If you break space-time in that, you get a kazoo credits. That sounds great. I'm a fan of that. Feels quite Stanley Parable. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Just informal query. Next year, after I finish Poltermon, next year I want to do a longer Outliers comic as like page by page for sort of patrons, and then when it's done, sort of general, put it out there. Would people prefer to see something with narrative, or would people prefer to see something that is like the Stanley Parable in as much sense as it's like weirdly non-linear? Because there is sort of a narrative in that, but it's also like the Stanley Parable. So
it's it's difficult for me to answer because I like things to have like narrative.
Yeah.
Chronological, preferably, but I think it suits the Outliers very much.
I mean,
like,
I'm
a non-linear thing, or like a Stanley Parable kind of thing.
the main I need to go through and plan it all and rewrite it and stuff like that. The main problem I have with the Stanley Parable one is that there's very little time that the Outliers spend together, and that feels like a shame.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other story, they're just together constantly. So.
Yeah, I do like to see their like interactions.
You haven't played the Stanley Parable in a very long time. I didn't play it much. Play it much with then either. You don't have to know anything about the Stanley Parable to understand the comic. I try and make sure of that sort of thing nowadays. I don't like doing something explicitly referential. But the idea being, basically, the Stanley Parable sort of messes around with and dissects the idea of choice in video games, and just sort of takes the piss out of it, basically. With a lot of weird meta humor. I want to do the same sort of thing for choose your own adventure comics, basically. And I wrote this thing ages ago, and I've been sort of adding things to it and getting excited about it, but there's part of me in the back of my brain that's like, should I actually just do something with a story? Because I have the Dishonored story all thumbnailed out, like that's ready. So I could very easily just do that instead. It would mean I have to work out how to paint Dunwall as backgrounds and all that sort of stuff. And you don't need to know anything about Dishonored for that either. So it's dark.
Oh, dark.
That's the dark.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just throwing that out there. I'll probably do like a more formal like Patreon post about it. But yeah, I just thought I'd float the idea. Hey there, dark.
I mean, it's like it's also, I don't know how to say this without sounding vaguely insulting, but
insult me. There you go.
I think like generally your Outliers jokes are better when they're on their own, but I like their interactions so much that I don't really care about that.
Oh, interesting.
Because there's a very specific like image I have in mind of, I believe it's in your like Until Dawn knockoff kind of thing, where it's just M and Stoic like sitting at a table and playing cards. I don't know if it's in there. It might be like a loose little thing, but been a while. And there is a joke in that, and I cannot really remember.
So there could be two things. I did a comic where they're playing cards, and none of them can agree what game to play, and then it just pans around to M, and she's just holding Uno cards.
No, it's not that one.
That's
it's
one thing.
The other one where it's just Stoic with M.
Yeah. So that's in After Dusk, where they're sat at a Ouija board, and they're both holding onto the thing in the middle of the Ouija board, and then there's like a couple of panels of like time lapse, and it comes back and it's exactly the same place.
Yeah.
Explaining the joke kills the joke.
Yeah, I do. It's like I said, it's been a while since I read that one, but it's a stomach that really sits into my mind as just something I really liked.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I, like, at the time when I mentioned that, you were like, wasn't even like a really particularly funny joke or anything, and I was just like, well, I mean, I really liked it.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, I will be the first to admit I am the worst judge of knowing what people are going to like in the things I make. I'm absolutely terrible. So any feedback like that's always good. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's a plamp on a normal time zone. Normal for us, anyway. Very, very jet laggy for them.
It's very much like the thing of like when you do like a joke with a character, mostly in like a lot of the Why We Didn't Finish comics, it's like usually like a joke per character kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the older ones would sort of.
Yeah, especially the older ones were really like that. And I also always really thought they were funny, but when they got together, I really liked the comics a lot more because it felt like
Yeah. You
was
like the characters
I
interacting.
like these characters. I like them interacting. It makes me happy, and I get a sensible chuckle out of it. But it's not like.
Okay, that's cool. Interesting. Because that's one of the things I feel slightly odd about with the Stanley Parable one is I think it's funny and there's lots of clever ideas in it, but the characters almost don't interact with each other at all. And that feels, if I'm going to be, there's a lot of pages in this thing. If I'm going to be spending that long on something with these 4 characters who barely interact, they do sometimes interact, but not a lot. And I feel like if I'm going to be putting that much effort in, I would like them to be doing something together. Because again, I like them being together. That's how they sort of express themselves, and I like seeing them rub up against each other and sort of. Yeah. The Emmon Stoic one is actually quite interesting because I've just remembered this. The reason that scene exists is because I had never bothered putting Emmon Stoic together for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought I want them to have a scene together in this, and I just tried to think of something as anything that would sort of connect the two because they're very different characters.
Yeah.
Obviously. And
just a joke for that, something of like we shouldn't do this with someone who is like mute and someone who is like whatever Stoic is.
Oh yeah. Oh, what was the line? Something like perhaps this doesn't work with with the collective subconscious of a statue and an animated ragdoll or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
You feel like you live on a more American time zone. Yeah. Mix of working nights for ages and having American misses for a good while. Yeah. Stoic is a payday heister. Ooh. I mean, if you can convince him to do it. That's when I've probably talked about this quite a lot. That's when Stoic's character really opened up for me. When I first came up with the idea of the character, I was like, it's very difficult for Stoic to do anything because he doesn't want to do anything. You know, he's Stoic. He has no particular desires or impulses. But then I realized, well, if he has no desires or impulses, he doesn't really have any reason not to do anything. Yeah. So it's very easy to get him to do something.
Yeah, you just need to find like a good enough reason.
Yeah,
or like not even, not a good enough reason for him to go against his morals or anything like that, which you would with another person, but just a good enough reason to just generally do it.
Yeah, a good enough reason to just stop doing whatever he's doing right now.
Yeah.
If Stoic did everything just purely logically and correctly, it wouldn't be with the outliers,
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, here's a rough drawing of Death lamenting the amount of admin that's required to deal with all the dead grass.
There's so much dead grass.
There's a lot of dead grass.
Entire golf course city worth.
It's just vibes. That's the thing. Originally, they were the manifestation in a very, very early comic before the Outliers existed. They were a one-off joke. They were the manifestation of my stoicism and logic. And the joke was that I asked, okay, where's the manifestation of my emotions? And Stoic pulls out a matchbox from his pocket and says, in here. That was the joke. Because back then, I was a lot less emotional than I am now. I have matured. But yeah, that is the reason Stoic exists. But over time, characters change, they develop, even something like Stoic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was a lingerie shoot, wasn't it? You and Miss joking about the lingerie shoot. And yeah, one of you said Stoic wouldn't do this. And that's when I came to the realization that actually, if you could give him any reason to, if you give him any reason to, he wouldn't say no.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason not to.
Yeah, I think it was for like, I think we talked about that when we came up with like the idea of like outlier sign, which we never did.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Because
whatever.
I mean, to be fair, I've drawn the outliers like 4 times this year. Like, I'm not expecting, I'm not expecting there to be a zine for them.
But yeah, I think that's when Miss came with, like, you know, the Mel should do a lingerie shoot, and then it evolved naturally into every one of the outliers should do it, and it's like, and yeah, that's when it happened with Stoke, and it's just like, I mean, why not? If you're gonna tell them it's, you know, for a magazine, maybe I'll just do it.
But anyway, enough talking about my weird characters that I never draw.
Especially in the context of lingerie.
Ah, whatever. This is just clothes. People wear clothes to feel good. Good for them. Okay, so we're still no closer to knowing what it is, what the actual things to do are in the abyss.
Yeah.
He says as though that will magically summon the solution. Yeah, okay, so I like a potential idea of, like, it's by interacting with another group in the abyss that we can sort of diffuse this situation. Maybe it's just that this group of the Feldino.
The Feldinos, yes.
The Feldino. Maybe it's, you know, they have this sort of isolationist habit, and maybe just sort of open. You were talking about the interruptions of trade or something like that. It might be that there used to be like a really big trading social society, but then something happened. The apocalypse happened, and then their entire city just got sort of cracked off from the rest and fell down to the bottom of the ocean.
Well, yeah, might
and
be...
they've just been isolated since, and they've sort of grown to sort of get angry at their own isolation.
Like, they used to be like a surface abyss.
Yeah, they used to be further
who, like,
high.
Traded with land a lot, and then apocalypse happened. They sunk down. They evolved to be able to, you know, live with that. But that doesn't mean they're like fully isolated, because it's down in the abyss, and down in the abyss is not a lot of things.
So what I'm wondering is there a way to raise them up, and sort of get them back to sort of, oh, hang on, yeah, we used to do things with these people.
Okay,
at which point they will be massive.
That's a really stupid idea.
Stupid idea, go. Love it.
You talked about they were gonna, you know, the way they destroy the Golden City is with a massive catapult, throw a stone at it. That's what you talked about.
Okay, yes.
The idea, you get them back up by taking their society and putting it in the catapult and shooting them back up to the surface.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no.
That was my first instinctual thought of, we have a catapult, we need to get a way up.
Yeah, I'm good with that. My really stupid idea from before connects with another stupid idea, and we get a solution. Hooray! That's how all my projects work. Just tie two stupid solutions together. Stupid ideas.
You did it. We solved the problem.
We did, and now I have to draw a city being catapulted. Is it a catapult or like a trebuchet or slingshot? Like,
whatever you think looks the silliest.
I know. Fit it with the theme. We have a theme. So, okay, we need a city, which is, it got broken off, so it is just a rock, just sort of suspended.
Yeah.
On the ocean floor.
Yeah.
With whenever I do an underwater city, I always think bubbles. So I'm always draw bubble. Everything's in bubbles underwater.
Or like little bubble igloos.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense that they should be similar to the ones higher above because they used to be, you know, they used to be connected
but that
to the
was
ones
like
above.
1,000 years ago. You know, they can be different. Maybe that's what the people used to live in 10,000 years ago.
They've put a spike on the top. That's how it's different.
Yes.
Now they're giant nipples. Let's not do that. Okay, I have rock. Have sling.
I hope you're happy with this idea, Plums.
Yeah, you inexplicably, Plamps, your lovely aesthetic bisexual ocean turned into the silliest idea of catapulting an entire city.
Ooh, with the bone, yes.
Yeah, whale fall. Massive, massive whale. Leviathan ribcage becomes slingshot.
Yes, you are very correct. No, this tracks.
Themes. It's no longer bisexual ocean, it's now bisexual disaster ocean.
This all tracks, this all is correct.
I'm actually filling up the canvas this time. By drawing a massive ribcage. Could have drawn it small.
No.
No. Could not have drawn it small. Impossible.
Impossible. It's a massive ribcage. How can you draw a massive ribcage small?
Okay, there is one big pressing question here. Mm-hmm. Which is, how do we trick them into firing their city instead of a rock?
Good question.
How do we make this happen? Because, like, this is big. We can't do this ourselves by hand. There has to be something going on here.
Yeah, probably. How do you trick a couple of underwater eggplants into shooting themselves out of the ocean?
I imagine they're not necessarily the brightest.
I mean, no.
It might just be the way I drew them.
Everything we talked about so far, they're not the brightest.
I have one idea, which is based on the drawing I've just done.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, if you're standing at the bottom of this city,
mm-hmm.
It just looks like a rock.
Yeah.
From the base, you have to get quite far away from it to realize there's a city on top of this.
Yeah.
So that might be...
You talk to the chief, the person in charge, the judge who gave you your sentence. And you're like, I have found a suitable rock to shoot at the Golden City, and it will definitely destroy it. Come with me. And then you guide them all the way down to the bottom of the rock, and you say, look up. They don't see the city on top anymore, I guess.
Yeah, you've literally just left the city, gone to the ocean floor, and then walked around this rock for, like, an hour.
You do, like, This little light of mine. We're just walking around for a while.
That can have for snack time. Oh, enjoy snacks. Thank you for allowing us to use your zone and thus come up with this amazing idea.
Yes. This is great. Probably the most thought out thing we've got so far.
And it's probably the most thought out thing we've done so far, open parentheses, derogatory, close parentheses.
So yeah, you walk around like the thing a bunch of times, just doing this little line of mine strategy. Then you say, look up at this big rock I found. And they're like, this will work perfectly. Let's do this. Get the, we have the suitable equipment. Go attach these to the whalebones over there. They look very similar to the whalebones we have near the Leviathan's bones near our city, but they will work perfectly.
Yes. We understand bones like these because we happen to have some just outside the city. That's good. That'll speed things along. Exactly.
So attach them to those. Make sure you pull them real tight, and then we can get to work. So stupid.
Love it. Love it. This is the nonsense I've set this project up for.
I'm glad we finally got there. And then they fling themselves out the ocean, get back to land, and then they're like, what happened? I guess this is fine.
And then just immediately another ocean-dwelling race comes along and go, hey, where have you been?
Hey, where have you been?
We've been waiting to pay you. You delivered this stuff like a couple of thousand years ago, and we've still got the payment. Here you go. Like, oh, these people are nice. And thus the like, trade empire is returned.
Yeah. Then like a little bit later, the flying city just crash lands near it. Just like, hey, you're great partners.
Hang on, are we actually going above land with this?
I said near, could be like underwater but near like the land, but it could also be on land. I don't know what would be more.
It's like, so here's like here's the shore, and then like here's the top of the thing, and it just sort of pokes out like that.
They live in bubbles for a reason.
And based on the previous conversation that we had, now being that high up in the ocean, they have expanded quite considerably.
Yes.
Due to the reduced pressure.
They're all little pancakes now. And they're like, finally, we've returned to our good forts.
That is... It's literally, they were just under too much pressure. That was why they became mad and upset and irritable. They were isolated and under a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can, finally.
They make it real obvious. Someone says, like, this is what pressure will do to a man.
Yeah. And then there's like a musical sting.
Subtlety, what's that?
They look a little bit like Pokeballs now, but whatever.
A little bit. But that's okay.
That's okay, we can deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, they don't look like half Pokeballs, and we're all already with the Feldinos, so...
Yeah, this is copyright infringement abyss.
Nintendo, don't sue us.
Also, this perspective does not work, I've just realised, unless this entire city is at an angle.
Fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. You get the idea across.
So we're getting reports from the city that ever since we set this rock up in a slingshot, that the city's been sort of tilting. Could that have anything to do with what we've just done? Nah, coincidence.
It's just the pressure getting to your head.
Yeah. A little lumpy, but not really. There we go. Whale Fall is their rescue. Only it's not whales. Leviathan Fall is their rescue.
Yeah.
To me, that's always been like one of the most appealing sort of myths. Is this idea of a creature that exists in the ocean that is just bigger than you can possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it may very well be a continent.
Yeah.
I think that's why I've always liked the story of Final Fantasy X. Spoilers. Well, it's not spoilers, it's literally the beginning of the game. Still spoilers, I guess. Big old monsters, it's a thing.
Big old monsters.
Big old monsters. I'm not talking kaiju, I'm talking... We need to employ rendering tricks to actually make this thing. And show it to you in the game.
Dude, there is something, like, very interesting about, like, the idea of a creature that you could, like, comfortably, like, live on the back of, and they will never notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a game, I remember seeing it advertised when it was like first announced, and then subsequently when it's like, this may be coming out soon, which is like a like city builder sort of defense thing where you set up farms and food and all that sort of stuff. But it is on the back of a giant thing that's just walking through the world, and you're just on this enormous, you know, mountain thing that's just walking, and you're setting up a city on top of it, and that's kind of neat. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Next project.
Next project. Oops, all on an animal.
Oops, all on an animal. That is the best name. The Wandering Village. There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, I remember seeing that and thinking, oh, that's kind of a neat idea. And then also thinking, but how does it actually affect the gameplay?
Yeah.
I'm sure it does in some sense. Oh, it's out. Okay, well, there we go. It's not only it's out, it's 15% off. Buy now. I have no idea if it's good. Is it good? Are there good reviews?
This rock.
Don't mind the footprints. There was someone else.
Yeah, it was me walking around trying to find this rock.
I think where it goes affects the weather, dangers and such, as well as what sort of things you can grab from the area. Ah, that's kind of neat. These sort of harvest things from outside, off the edge or whatever. That's kind of cool. I guess that sort of helps with like a lot of games because you're just setting up a thing in a place. Unless you can regrow the thing, it just runs out. So I like the idea that you don't really run out of resources, but what resources you have are random because the thing's just walking where it wants. So that's kind of cool. That promises an idea. I like it. And I guess I should probably try and draw one of these things on the surface. So I guess, given that this is the penultimate Via stream, I know I keep saying this, but
Yeah.
I want to largely saying it because it's like, hey, we're coming to the end. If there's anything else anyone wants to talk about, it's not our last chance. We can talk about this indefinitely elsewhere, but just won't be doing streams of it. But yeah, so I guess the next stream will probably be about like the final confrontation and the ending.
Yeah, I guess so. Guess what? That would be the best, because I think we like went through each area over the past couple of streams of like, okay, what's still like burning questions that need to be answered.
Yeah.
And the Abyss was kind of the last one of that, I think.
I think so, yeah. Like there was some stuff. There was some potential for things we could do with the viaduct, but let's face it, it's just the viaduct. So
yeah, the viaduct. I mean, we kind of like did a thing of like we made it a little bit more important by saying it is like the Mimble base.
Yeah. We made the Mimble base.
So it does have like purpose.
That's another painting I wanted. That's another painting I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think other than that, like all the areas kind of got their thing going and going on, and things and stuff are being talked about. So I guess the only thing that's really left is the ending.
Yeah.
Final confrontation with Fame and Fortune, or the good ending. I don't know.
Well, we can discuss both. We can discuss what happens in the phases. Everybody get your phase of that boss fight, because there's one for each area you mess up.
Yep.
Except the viaduct, so I don't have to do anything.
I like this guy. Just a little floppy pancake. Oh yeah.
This is what releasing some pressure does to you.
I mean, that is how you feel after, you know, after the pressure is off. When you do, like, a relaxing exercise.
See, they've never worked on me. So I wonder if I've ever been truly stressed. Yeah, I've never really had that sensation of like, I'm just either stressed or doing other things. Sometimes both.
It's a state I want to achieve more than a state I have achieved, I think.
That's fair. This is goals.
Because I have done relaxing exercises of like trying to like be more aware of my body, get in the moment kind of thing that I'm supposed to do for therapy because my anxiety thoughts go everywhere.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit like that, but a little bit of more of like I'm sinking into the floor, which is not that relaxing.
It's very Napsterbluk. Very lay on the floor, see the cosmos. Undertale. If you've never
bit. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. The problem I have with stuff like that is that my anxieties are health related. So a lot of relaxation techniques are about feel your body, listen to your breathing, and all that sort of stuff. And then I just worry that that's wrong.
Yeah, it's
like is that what my breathing's supposed to be like? Is my heart rate supposed to be increasing when I breathe in? It seems like it's more than it should be. Did that skip a beat, etc., etc. So I can't really use that as a technique.
Yeah, I have to go through like it's a guided exercise. It's like a audio fragment that's like 14 minutes long. And it's very much like the lie on the floor, and then it goes like the exercise goes through each body part, and it tells you to like feel things and then let it go. Like it literally tells you to do that, which helps.
Let it go, let it go. I say that, I still don't think I've heard that song.
Or it wasn't really like let it go, it was more like feel it sink. I guess would be like the translation of like feel your like this pancake of like feel it, like feel the pressure release so much that it just goes through the ground, I guess.
Yeah, interesting. Sorry, my brain, as it does, went off on a tangent and thought, that's a really good idea for a really crap episode of Doctor Who. It's just like a conspiracy to put around like relaxation tapes that are all like, and relax, let go of your body, let go, and then the aliens get in.
And
they take over your brain.
Yes.
That's a very good crap episode of Doctor
Who. Amazing.
It is a little similar to the adipose one, I guess. Of like weight loss.
Fine. Doctor Who even rehashes their own doctors. They can rehash
yes,
that.
Yeah. The problem with this is that they've rehashed the Doctor who was already technically 2 doctors. So it's regenerated into David Tennant for the 3rd time.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't also include the meta crisis thing, let's not get into it. They love David Tennant, which is fair. It's great. Well, we did some things.
We did some things.
You know what we do after we do some things?
We spin wheels.
We spin some wheels. Yeah. Hooray! And this is the last wheel spin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's so dumb.
I should probably share that on. Whoops. Dark has just shared this. The best thing you can do with that is sneak it like into somebody's room while they're asleep.
Yeah. Like they're asleep on their side, you put it right in front of their face.
Here are some ready for the final spin. Your gifting period shopping, and that's in your recommended.
It's the final wheel time.
Fauna. What an ending. It's wheels. It's random. Yeah. So plants. Not plamps. Different. Although plamps is a plant. Pineapples. Speaking of pineapples, plamps has viaduct. Lewis has caves. Kiro has floating city, which, as far as I'm aware, probably does have plants somewhere on the floating city, but I think of it as technological. Oobs, harbor. Everybody wizards. Make a wizard plant. Why not? I have the abyss. I think I've already done quite a good job of drawing plants on the heads of blob friends.
You did great.
And all plants that I drew a lot of grass. Cheap has Golden City, which again probably doesn't have plants. Christy did draw like a kind of, that was a sort of a monster that pretended to be grapes, I think.
Oh yeah.
So I guess there have to be plants in order for there to be things that mimic plants. Dark has a forest. There's a few plants in that. Might be. Christy has Limbo with a lot of flowers. And Ragdoll has the world. The wild. I will leave this up and post Ragdoll's typical summary. Because Ragdoll is very helpful. And oh, hello! I've just.
You've just seen the things, huh?
I've just seen the thing. Let me hop on out of the wheels. Actually, let me put it in the middle of the screen and then transition.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can go. I do this and get a sneak peek. Slowly. Oh, too much. Slowly. There it is. Yeah, that's that exists.
Yeah, it does.
It's a thing. Somebody made that, presumably. Or did they?
Presumably.
That picture looks like it has been photoshopped because the lines of the pictures are too straight to be going around a cushion. But presumably somebody has printed it off and bought it, so. What has happened to your recommendations? You keep clicking on these. That's what's happening.
You've done this to yourself.
Oh, I didn't even see that one. I didn't even see the banana. I skipped straight over that.
I mean, you should have stayed that way, honestly.
Probably, yeah. Regrets, I have a few. Je ne regrette rien except with Nicolas Cage pillow. Accentuate and look more closely. No, I'm fine, thank you very much. But yeah, that is Anstrom. And Singularstrom. So yeah, that was that. Hope it was good. Hope people liked it.
You've done it.
Still, how do I still not know how to do this? There we go. I say that every time. I will be back not on Tuesday, but tomorrow. Tomorrow for Hitman Times, because on Tuesday I will be engaging in Friend Times.
Friend Times. As
indeed I will on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. So no streams on Tuesday, Wednesday, but there will be a stream tomorrow. Tomorrow. I also don't know what's happening on Saturday because because Chib will have spent a long time on a coach.
Yes.
So we'll see.
I will have waited for 3.5 hours, starting from 5:30 in the morning in a station to wait for a bus.
That's great.
Love that.
My coach doesn't take that long. Well, these things happen. By these things happen, I mean everybody send your energy to Chib. Hold your hand up against the screen. Not yet, though.
Wake up at
Like,
4 a.m. tomorrow. Oh no!
I'm waking up, I guess at like 4:30. Not
I'm
tomorrow,
not even
but
waking
Tuesday.
up at 4 a.m. tomorrow.
I can get away with 4:30, can I? No, actually, it probably should be 4. Yeah. Give energy. Hands up, give energy. Thank you again to Aid Von Ziggy for your lovely background music. Thank you, Chib.
Yes.
Very lovely and entertaining my nonsense and reciprocating with more nonsense.
Even more nonsense.
Always good.
Silly ideas.
Yes, that's what we're for. What we're here for.
Back and forth.
Yeah, so yeah, stream tomorrow, none for the rest of the week until Saturday, with a maybe conscious Jeep. And then Sunday is the final VS stream, where we do final boss stuff, presumably.
Which will final day.
Which will also be very silly because I seem to recall that the final boss does involve a dress-up game.
Yes. It does. That's the Golden City game.
Yeah. It's an interesting design choice, as are everything we do.
Is the Abyss game just Catapult?
Might be, yeah.
Like, you know those little, like, games where there's, like, a bunch of, like, targets, like, going up in the top screen, and then, or, like, in the top of the screen, and then you have to, like, pull back your characters like arrows or something.
Oh no, I was assuming we were catapulting ourselves.
Oh, that's also a possibility, yeah.
And then, like, bouncing off of Feldino trampolines and, you know. More on this next week.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, everybody. Hope you had a good time. Yeah. See you around. I have to turn off Aid Von Ziggy because the audio system I have means we can't use that as outro music.
Good night.
Oh well. Good night, everybody.
Tomorrow,
Thanks.
Dark.
Yeah, friend times.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Have a good time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.